Ladies, my fellow mommies, we are always so busy, on the go, kids screaming in the back seat, sleeping babies. I have the ultimate hack for you.
Welcome to the Stay Fit Mom Podcast with Krista and Tracy, your go-to girls for health, fitness, and keeping it real in mom life.
If you can't seem to get in a good groove with your nutrition and exercise program, this is for you.
We've coached thousands of women using macros for over 8 years, and I'm well known around here for my 5-day meal prep videos.
What does a macro balanced meal look like?
Hit subscribe to the Stay Fit Mom Podcast and join us for a fun, meaningful journey toward a healthier, happier you.
You got this, Mom.
Hey, everybody. Krista, I can't believe I'm saying this, but we have figured out how to do one more thing. At least if you're listening, it means that we have figured out how to upload a podcast and start a podcast. Are you proud of me?
I'm incredibly proud. This is exciting. I was a little nervous about it, but I think it's actually going to be a lot of fun. And I'm not surprised at all that you figured it out.
We've had to figure out so many hard things along the way. And really, that's what this whole season of the podcast is about. Perseverance, keep grinding, even when it's tough or taking forever to see results.
This isn't the first time that we've had to figure something out. And I don't think there's ever been a time in the last 9 years that we have said, you know what, this isn't going to work. Let's forget about it. I mean, we did it. Here we are.
We did it. Okay, so let's go over the goals for the podcast. I want everybody to know why we're here and what we're doing. The first goal, we have a very thriving community with one-on-one coaching clients, Ninja Insiders. We have a big social media presence, and we want people to feel connected to us. And whenever I listen to other podcasts, that's how I feel. I know them and I want to know them more, or I pop a podcast in my ear to get motivated, inspired, entertained, and connection is just one of the big pieces of why we're doing this. Another goal for the podcast is to entertain you. This is not going to bore you to death with scientific studies and data analysis. While, of course, we hope to educate you, and we always say that education drives compliance with our clients, we also just want this to be fun, a place of connection and laughter and talking with your girlfriends.
Another big goal is motivation. 2025 will mark 10 years for us in the health and fitness industry, which is crazy. We've got some stories to tell, and we're hoping to tell them here with you. We've learned a few things along the way, and we know what will motivate, inspire, and encourage you.
And the last thing is practical tips. We want to leave you with at least one thing, an actionable step that you can take home and do today that'll improve your overall health and wellness. All right, let's dive right in, which is today's episode, the Stay Fit Mom story. And in this episode, we're going to cover the origin, challenges and growth, the evolution of content, building a community, the impact of social media, future goals, and the big takeaway tips, insights that you can apply to your health and wellness journey right now.
Let's get into it. One of my favorite podcasts that Chad and I listen to all the time is called How I Built This. And one of the questions he asks entrepreneurs at the end of every episode is how much of your success, so how much of Stay Fit Mom's success thus far over the last 9 years, do you think we can contribute to hard work or just luck? Do you have any thoughts on that?
I have so many thoughts on that. It has taken an extreme amount of hard work, so much hard work. But I also feel like we are so greatly blessed in the timing of how this all worked out.
I remember saying,
Hey, do you want to maybe try this thing? I don't know how it's going to go.
We could make a few hundred extra bucks a month, maybe. I remember thinking that if I can contribute even a few $100s to my family, that would be amazing. I was living with my in-laws when we first started our website. And I just think back on my kids were little, they were babies. And so many nights I just was up. I was working, teaching full time. And then I would stay up working on these blog posts. I was tired, but we never gave up. It took us 9 years just to get to this point. So I don't think that that's all luck. There's for sure been a lot of hard work. I also think all the time about everyone's hard work. I mean, everybody works. A lot of people work hard,
Right.
but doing it, this is just a very unique job. What's turned into a job.
Yes. First of all, the origin of how this came about was I had a blogging friend. Well, I shouldn't even say that. I had a friend that said she was going to start a blog. And I said to her, "What is a blog?" And she kind of tried to explain it to me. And I remember telling her, "Okay, yeah, good luck. best of luck. I hope this works out for you. And then 2 years into it, and by the way, that friend is Easy Family Recipes, Kimber Mathern. She is an absolute rock star. I just want to give her a shout out. A couple years after, she reached out and said, Tracy, you have got to do this. I am making an ink. I am contributing to my family through this blog. And I think that you would be really good at this. And Kimber was doing a blog on crafting and on food. And I was thinking, I cannot do either of those things. What could I even blog about? And one thing that Krista and I have always been really passionate about is health and fitness. And we've also really struggled with our health and fitness journey over time after having babies. It's not something that came easy. Even from a young age, Krista and I always had to work hard at being fit and healthy. The thought of helping other people reach their goals was something that just lit my heart on fire. And also Krista. It was something that we could do. But then Krista, you tell what you were doing at the time.
Are you talking about my OG Instagram?
Yeah.
It was called at Get CrossFit Project. I joined Instagram all those years ago. It's like an outlet for me to stay motivated to exercise. I've always been interested in health and fitness. So I don't know why. I don't even know why I started that Instagram account. But I do remember the day you called me and said, I think we can do this. And I thought, well, what have I got to lose? Nothing.
So we met in the 8th grade playing volleyball. And then from the 8th grade until we were the maid of honors in each other's wedding, we have just been so close. We did student council together. We got married at very similar times in our life. And despite life moving on rapidly with getting married and having kids and getting jobs, we always stayed connected. But then we went to our 10-year high school reunion, and that's kind of where we just reconnected and we're like, we're going to do this, which I find so ironic, Krista, because you're about to go to our 20-year high school reunion. I'm so sad that I can't go because so much has transpired in the last 10 years, and I feel like I need to represent, but you're going to have to do it on behalf of both of us.
And I'm not even sure I'm going yet. I don't know that I can go without you.
Let's just talk about how we came up with the name, because so many people say, that is genius. SleepFitMom.com, like it rhymes. It's so catchy. People love it. And I laugh hysterically because it wasn't really.
It was just something that was available. I remember, like I said, I was living with my in-laws at the time. There's this website where you can see what is available, and we just started putting in names. I cannot remember anything that we tried. Do you remember anything?
I just remember us wanting Fit Mom to be in there. I don't remember any of the other ones, but 30 minutes in, we were sick of looking and we were like, Stay Fit Mom. Let's just call it that. That's fine. That's good enough.
Yes. Will say, I remember I was so nervous about contributing to get it going. I was like, oh my gosh, how much is this domain name going to cost us, right? This is such a low risk business to start. But I do remember you saying, Chris is okay. We are going to do the upfront. It was like $250 or something. And I was like, whew, good thing, because I didn't know how I was going to pay for that. I was the only one working at that time. And like I said, living with my in-laws, but I'll never forget that.
The first couple of years, how did we even make money? It was ads slowly rolling in. I remember partnering with Chuck E. Cheese at one point and just doing any sort of sponsored work, because the goal for us was always to monetize. This wasn't a nonprofit venture. We want to be contributors to our family. We want to make an income of some sort doing this. And the lengths at which we were willing to go was funny at the beginning.
You remember the ad for the pads? I remember doing a weekly workout and I box jumps, and it was like, you can wear these and do box jumps.
Yes. So we finally, I think the first year of Stay Fit Mom, we made, I mean, obviously we are business partners, so we split this income, but I think we made like $1,100 each or something. It was like,
I feel like
that's high.
That's great. I don't remember. I would have told you we weren't profitable the first year.
Well, this is why I remember, Krista. We made $1,100 the first year, which Chris was so proud of me because that could go towards our family vacation. And I remember sitting down with him, going over how much we made the first year. And literally the next week, I broke my laptop and had to buy a new one. And so that entire $1,100 that we made the first year went to buying a new. I cried like a baby in front of Chris. We worked so hard And it was for nothing. It was just the biggest letdown.
Yeah. I do remember we eventually moved out of my in-laws' house and we bought our second house, but I borrowed $10,000 from my dad. He's like, you got to get into a house before prices escalate. So we found a home and I remember, gosh, it had to have been 2 years into blogging at that point 2 or 3. And I remember being so proud that I paid him back within 6 months or so. It might have been less. But I was like, he's not going to believe it. I can't. I was just so proud of that. And that was at that point, I think that was all blogging money, but I could be wrong.
That is giving me all the feels, especially obviously we'll go into this later and this is not what this is about, but just watching your dad work on your house right now and just how he's helped you. You're his baby and he's just helped you no matter what your circumstances are. I love that. Okay, so let's move into we're blogging and we're doing Whole30 recipes.
I do remember when the blog first took off. That was our paleo meatloaf. I remember because Chad takes all the credit for that. It was his idea. We dove into everything Whole30 and paleo and doing recipes and all the things. It trended on Pinterest.
We'd go to blogger conferences and be like, oh, paleo meatloaf.
Yeah.
So after paleo meatloaf, we're doing Whole30 and all of a sudden the CrossFit gym that I go to, which is the CrossFit gym that Krista goes to now, was hosting a nutrition seminar. And this is around 9 years ago. And it's all about macro counting. And at the time, predominantly the CrossFit community was very into Whole30 and macro counting came onto the scene. And we were like, whoa, what is this? It was so shocking to hear you actually need carbs when you're doing high intensity
I was
training.
going to say, it's not that macro counting was new. Obviously, it's been popular in the bodybuilding community forever. But I think a lot of people, especially CrossFit athletes, were getting burnt out on paleo and Whole30. I know I was.
One of the things, though, that we were told early on without our blog is that when you content create, it's like you're throwing darts at a dartboard and you just keep throwing darts until something sticks. And then when something sticks, you keep throwing that same dart over and over again. Paleo meatloaf is an example of a dart, and we kept throwing that dart. And then all of a sudden, macro coaching came onto the scene, and we were learning about this, and we knew that we had this thriving community of followers, and we wanted to see if we could help these women with macro counting. And so we had a trial group of 12 women, most of which we still keep contact with today, that took a chance on us. And we were shocked at how incredible they did. But in the beginning, we knew every single client. Krista, do you remember that? Every single one. We knew them.
In the beginning, Stay Fit Mom grew just by word of mouth. I feel like that was our most powerful marketing tool. People just told their friends and family about us.
So then we have this tester group. The coaching has grown to the point where we are all drowning in these clients. All we do for the next 2 years is coach these women night and day, day and night. Krista's still teaching full-time at the time. We've streamlined the process to the point where we can get check-ins pretty well under control in and out. And we just knew if we wanted to grow this business, we had to make a change, which felt really scary at the time. We wanted to be able to reach more, but we were scared about losing that community feel.
That's when it started to feel real. It was a business at that point. Hiring people made me so very nervous. I think that's one of the things that I was most fearful of at that time. I was teaching. I remember I had over 80 of my own clients at one point. Our kids were so young. I was just drowning. And I recognized that. But again, I was just so scared about hiring other people and watching it grow.
Yeah. And let's just go back to that point a little bit because that part of my life is a blur. Chris would say, Tracy's going to the Matrix. I don't know when she's going to be out. And I would just head down, get into my computer and would just be in it. I don't know about you, Krista, but I still look back on some of those days and I wonder, did I hold Ollie enough? Was I a good enough mom to him? I don't know. I still have that mom guilt a little bit because we were working so hard and we were contributing to our families. Mothers just can't win, right? Stay at home with your kids and you enjoy every minute or you hate every minute or wish for this other life working outside the home and you're contributing financially. But there's always this part of me that's just like, was being a mom not enough? I don't know.
I see what you mean, but I also think they've seen how hard that you've worked. They know that it didn't just happen overnight. I came across one of McKenna the other day sitting on my lap pretending to do the check-ins.
Yes, yes. But also, I feel like so much of what we do is unseen to our families. Even today, my kids have a very, very limited view of what I do. When Chris was a pharmacist, he would put on his lab coat and he would walk into work and it would be like, "Bye, Dad. I know he's going to work." And my kids are like, What are you even doing? Why are you getting why are you getting your phone out?" They don't realize that we have an actual job.
I've always felt like that's been hard. I mean, I feel like the last 10 years, society has come a long way as far as a lot of people do work from home on their phones. We kind of came into this around that time and it was hard. I remember for a long time it was hard always using my phone all the time and being on my phone, and our husbands getting to the point where they saw it as a successful business.
Another turning point in our business was when we had our retreats. A few years in, we really wanted to put on client retreats and bring in these women that we had been working with. And it was a ton of work. But Krista, what do you want to say about it? Because I have a couple thoughts, but I'll let you go first.
I just remember being really nervous to invite strangers into my parents' home. We had the first one in my parents' home in Canairville, but it was just so fun.
And me and you did not do any sort of online dating. We were before that. That's like how you meet your spouse now. But before then, the online world was kind of like, "Ooh, I don't know."
You didn't meet people that you met. You didn't meet them in
Right.
person.
This was like this scary blind date with all these women and showing up and seeing them being exactly who we thought they were. We had this really good picture from doing their check-ins and coaching them for so long of who we thought they were going to be. And then we saw them in person. We were like, they're exactly who we thought they were going to be. They are funny and they were genuine and we know them super well. And at that point, I was like, this is a real thing.
Right. I do. I miss the retreats. As our staff continued to grow, they got really hard because all of our coaches wanted to come. And I do think all the time about, got to have another client retreat.
And we have messages a lot, by the way, that are like, are you bringing those back?
I know. Maybe at some point.
Yeah. Which brings us to right before the pandemic is when we had our last retreat. And then we hit 2020 and our business took another turn. So if you're following along in the story so far, it is we're blogging, we're doing our best with Chuck E. Cheese sponsorships and paleo meatloaf. Then we start into macro coaching. Then we hire out coaches and we're at this point of expansion. And then boom, COVID hits. So tell us about COVID, Krista, and how you think that impacted Stay Fit Mom.
I was going to say, I feel like we need to backpedal just a little bit. We finally decided to hire on coaches. Our goal at that time was we're going to scale. We're going to focus on providing more for our community instead of us just being the coaches ourselves. We became at that point the marketing girls.
Yes, we knew that the program could be improved, providing our clients more in terms of content development with recipe creation. And that was a huge turn of events that I just skipped right over. Yes.
We really started focusing on providing weekly topics and having coaches started helping. So fast forward to 2020, we put on our big girl pants and you and I decided we were going to a conference. We went to Social Media Marketing World. That was the first weekend in March of 2020. We went to meetings all day long. I remember for me, it was torture. You loved every second of it. I did love the brainstorming we always did. I feel like anytime we were together and focused, that's when we came up with some of the best ideas for Stay Fit Mom.
I just remember one specific breakout session that we went to, and it was called Leveraging 15-Second Attention Spans with TikTok. And before this, we were not even going to dive into that, which, by the way, I also said that about podcasting. We are not even going to go there. That's too much. We can't handle that. But you started just messing with the app. And I remember, again, just similarly with this podcast stuff, like, I can't figure out this technology, Krista. It's just too much. My brain is too little to handle this. But then I kept saying, if 13-year-olds can figure this out, we can figure it out. And that's literally what I've said to myself, too, with this podcast thing. Plenty of people are doing it. I know we can figure it out. So you start TikTok. And what's the first thing that you went viral on?
Oh my gosh. I want to say it was a cinnamon roll. I showed a homemade cinnamon roll and I just put the fork through it and I put a caption that was like, when you can eat a cinnamon roll and still hit your macros. I remember that one got like 1 million views and I couldn't believe it. This is crazy.
So we had never really experienced that level of going viral, wouldn't you say, before that point? That was the point where we were like, Whoa.
It's so amazing, right? So many people see these short form videos so quickly. Yeah. And then so the world shut down.
I was a little bit fearful for Stay Fit Mom overall.
Oh,
Oh
of
my
course.
gosh, this
Yeah.
is going to be scary. Are we going to have jobs? Is this still going to be a thing?
And then people just started signing up for the program like crazy.
Yeah, the reverse happened and we were bursting at the seams because we had this established online format. Gyms were closed down. People
Mhm.
couldn't go in person to see their personal trainer and they needed some sort of online platform to stay healthy.
Were at home because they couldn't go to work and I think had more time. We already had that big social media presence and people just started signing up more people than usual. We tripled, quadrupled our new
I
clients.
think that's how significant the evolution of TikTok going viral over and over again did for us at that time during the pandemic.
2020 was nuts. Our coaches were amazing. We were like, tell us if it's too much. We will just cut off registration. And they were like, nope, we can do it. We got it.
Yeah, TikTok transformed Stay Fit Mom as well as the pandemic expanded us in ways that we just did not expect. Did we get lucky? Or was that us working hard? The answer is both, right? We were at the right place at the right time, but we also had set up our business to the point where we could scale when these people were coming to us. And had we not made those moves incrementally as this was coming, we wouldn't have been able to help that many people.
We had massive amounts of women coming to us in 2020 wanting help. I would say we really appealed to the everyday mom. We weren't getting these fitness models and bodybuilders coming to us wanting to do our program. It was regular moms like us. And it's just been incredible being able to help these women.
One of the things that I think really changed our whole business was you deciding to finally stay home. You were working full time as a PE teacher.
So I did go back for a short time after the pandemic. I wanted to make it to 10 years. Stay Fit Mom was doing great. It was hard keeping up with everything. I just started filming my lunches one day. I thought, you know what? I have to prep for lunch because I'm so busy. I was macro counting, doing all these things. And I just filmed it and showed it and put it on TikTok. And that was the next viral thing was the meal prep in my little glass bowls. Just started taking off.
And I remember watching this before my eyes going, oh my gosh. Krista has put out so many amazing recipes like dump lasagna and tuna casserole and all these incredible recipes that our family's been eating this whole time. All she does differently is put them in little glass bowls and boom, it's wild. I couldn't get over it. I was like, why are people wanting to get so many dishes dirty? I don't understand.
Right. And I already had 3 cookbooks, right? The first 3
Right.
family
We
style. The cookbooks did fine. The whole purpose of the cookbooks was to provide our clients with macro-friendly recipes. And I just took a liking to that. In the blogging years, I feel like I started to trend towards wanting to do all the recipes, right?
Yes. You would say, I'm the head chef. Tracy, you're the head coach. And I feel like we've stuck to those roles really, really well. But you have become head chef to all of the interwebs, not just our coaching clients. That was the initial motivation is we want our clients to be able to eat really, really well. And then everyone was like, I would like to eat really well too. And they've done incredible.
Yeah. So that's been wild for sure.
But also as a teacher, you could see the value in how convenient it would be if you meal prepped ahead and brought an actual healthy, nutritious, high protein lunch to bring with you every day to school. I was staying at home with my kids. I didn't even see the need, and people needed that so badly.
And it was way more affordable. You wouldn't catch me going and getting fast food. I couldn't afford that. At that time, when I was teaching, I took a lunch. I was tracking my macros. I wanted something high protein. So, yeah. I'm not the only one who had this big change up in 2020. Your family had a big change up in 2020. So, why don't you tell us a little bit about that?
Yeah, Chris and I were planning to go to Hawaii for the first time. Hawaii was shut down because of COVID. And also all of Las Vegas was shut down. And so we vacationed to Florida to 30A, which is the panhandle of Florida specifically. And my friend, Easy Family Recipes, who I mentioned right at the beginning, knew that we were looking at the possibility of moving. So one of the things that we didn't talk about was Chris was considered an essential workforce employee during 2020. He's working 50 hours a week. Stay Fit Mom is taking off. We are working more than we ever have. Our kids were on their iPads all the time. This is not the life that we want for our family. And so we started looking at other places to move. We vacationed to Florida, paddled off into the sunset off of a friend's dock, and was like, people live like this? We decided to make the most radical decision of our life up until this point. We've made more radical decisions since then, but we were both like, let's just give it a go. Let's see what happens. He took the board exam for Florida and passed. And basically, we vacationed here to Florida in August. And by December of that year, we had a house and we were moving in.
I don't remember being concerned at all that you were moving across the country. I mean, concerned that my friend was moving away, but not concerned for Stay Fit Mom. I knew we could do everything far apart.
Yes. So then we get to a point where Krista keeps going viral on TikTok over and over and over again. Here she goes. And we just knew every time you went viral, it would mean more clients would trickle in. It's this trickle down effect. And at one point, I remember saying, if we went on Good Morning America, we wouldn't have this many views. It was that transformative. It was to the point where I was doing so much managerial work that I feel like I couldn't really contribute in a way that would help us to expand more because I was bogged down by all of the details and so many things slipped through the cracks that I was like, I don't have time to keep up with this or keep up with that.
We weren't working on the blog.
Yes, weren't
There-
writing blog posts. There's just a lot that go into managing clients and cookbooks. We have these two really big things that take a lot of managerial tasks: membership registration and cookbook fulfillment, these software systems that we use to keep this business going. While initially it was like, oh, this is such low overhead, just like start writing on WordPress. It's not that anymore. So it got to the point where I felt like I couldn't keep up producing content. We have a sit down and our husbands are also at this meeting.
I was no longer teaching at this point. I was just like busting out the meal prep and coaching content. We were really bursting at the seams, right? So we were trying to figure out how we were going to make this work.
We say, we just need somebody to manage these 20 tasks. I don't know how many it was.
Well, I think we were saying we could hire someone to answer emails and to do all these things. What do we think we should pay them? We could put them on a salary, like $40,000. I remember saying this, and Chad was like, I'd like to do that for $40,000. Chad was hitting his 10th year of teaching, and I'm pretty sure we told you at that meeting that night, Chad's going to be done. He's going to help me a little bit more around the house. Our kids were all in school. I say the stay-at-home dad, but he was going to take them all to the sports and all the things, and then he was
Right.
going to build a home. So we told you guys, Chad's going to stay home. And I think that just kind of put a little bug in Chris's
Yeah.
ear, both of your ears.
Yes. Chris decided to leave his job, which felt really scary to me at the time because it was like, we have insurance. We picked this place in Florida to move because he got a job 20 minutes away from our house. And we're 1 year in and we're just going to say, screw it. He's not going to work at all. But I just knew in my heart that it was the next step. I knew it. And Chris knew it too. That was another point in our business where we pivoted, but then expanded a lot. Krista could focus even more exclusively. All these annoying tasks that I shouldn't say annoying, but things that would bog you down. It would be like one more meal prep recipe that you can't put out because you
Right.
have to do X, Y, and Z. We took all of the things that Krista and I didn't want to do off of our plates and transferred them to Chris and Chad. And one of those things is our software systems and how we communicate with our clients and our coaches. And that's when we launched the first Meal Prep One recipe book. And that has taken off.
Oh, that's right. Yeah, I remember saying in that meeting too, we needed this meal prep cookbook yesterday. Yeah, that freed up a lot of my time. And that's when I busted out that first meal prep cookbook, which was our biggest seller for cookbooks.
To this day, people cannot get enough of meal prep recipes.
Isn't
is
it funny? It's not even that I have this huge passion for meal prep. I have a passion just for cooking in general. But like you said, the dart was there and I was just going to keep doing it and keep providing it.
I haven't even told you this, but we got an email from somebody the other day and they were like, I love you on Instagram. I love these meal prep recipes, but I am getting so many dishes dirty. Is there a way that I could just put this all in one casserole dish? Yes, there is. We have 3 other cookbooks that you just don't know about yet that will save you a lot of dishes. That's how we're found now, is through the meal prep recipes. So that brings us to today. And at the time of this recording, Krista has just hit 1 million on Instagram. You've had 1 million on TikTok. I like to claim that we have 1 million on Facebook.
Yes, we do.
It is unreal to me that we're sitting at way more followers than we could have ever imagined. And Krista, I have to say this. There are so many people that I get geeked out on when I follow them on social media that have way less followers than you.
It is bizarre. It's really bizarre. It's not like people are coming up to me at the grocery store and know who I am by any means. I don't even think that's ever happened. Yeah, it's obviously really cool. And it's been fun to celebrate. It's a weird thing to celebrate just because it's not like it matters, but it does matter. You know what I mean? It's almost like this milestone in a business, in a very unique business.
So let's go over any future goals. Do you have any future goals, Krista? Do we have future goals? What do you think about when we talk about that?
I feel like all these years I've always been comfortable where we are, Tracy. I feel like you've always been the motivator. You've always pushed us to keep expanding. What about you?
I was just laughing because I'm like, oh, yeah. And by the way, I really want to start a podcast. And let's just talk about that for a minute because I remember right when we first started our blog, we went to a podcast seminar and I could not roll my eyes further back into my head. I was like, we will have no need for that ever. Never say never.
I've been saying this for a long time, but I really do want to get on YouTube and create longer format content. I've just been putting it off because of my living situation, which is funny because when I made both meal prep cookbooks, I did right here all the videos in this little rental home with my kitchen space that's 2 feet. But that is something I'd like to do.
And I would just say, and really, this is so all encompassing. Our goal has always been to help as many people as we can. That's why we do what we do. Yes, we love that we can provide an income for our family. But the bottom line is the reason why we can do that is because we work really, really hard at trying to help other people. Whatever direction that takes us in how we disseminate information, we come up with more recipes, more resources for people in a day and age where eating is hard. Eating and staying fit and staying healthy is really, really hard in 2024 because that's the culture that we live in. But we want to make fitness easily accessible for people that are in the thick of it, that are living busy lives. That's who we are. We're living incredibly busy lives and we're still trying to fight to make it work. That's the goal that keeps us doing this every single day.
Mm-hmm.
All right. So final question. When you think back to our whole journey, all of it, what's one practical takeaway tip that you would give to somebody that's just starting out or struggling? What's a piece of advice that you have that might surprise them?
I have so many, but I think just surrounding yourself with people who support you and want to see you succeed, even if that means finding support outside the walls of your own home, strangers, friends, whoever, that's just going to take you so far. And also, one motto that I've been living by all these years is to just fake it till I make it. You told me that at one point. I remember, I think right before we started coaching, I was like, I'm not a fitness model. I still have all this baby weight to lose. I cannot be a macro coach. And you were like, girl, we are going to fake it till we make it. And it ended up just being the best thing that we are real women, we're not these fitness models. We're relatable. And so I always just remind myself of that over all these years. I'm just a relatable mom, woman, and I'm going to just keep being myself, really. I think that's how we ended up here. And that's my advice.
I love that. I love that so much. And no matter where you are in your fitness journey, if that means you're going to the gym for the very first time and you don't really know what you're doing, fake it till you make it. We're like, you're not really sure how to eat healthy, but you think that this might be the steps that you need to take. Fake it till you make it. Just give it a go.
What's one piece of advice you would give someone?
This is advice that I'm giving myself because I have to constantly wake up and tell myself this every day. Focus on small, consistent actions rather than big, immediate results. It's not going to happen overnight. Do you remember that penny dropper experiment in science class, the one where you have to guess how much water you can get into a bubble on a penny by using that medicine dropper before the water spills out? Did you ever do that?
I don't think so. This isn't ringing a bell for me, but.
You know what a penny dropper is, though?
Yes.
Okay. So I remember doing it and you had to predict how many would get in there, 42 or whatever. Now picture your health journey with your 40-ounce Stanley Cup water bottle and every little action that you put towards your goal is like one water droplet from your medicine dropper. And if you look at that as a whole, it's going to seem incredibly slow and overwhelming and not fair that it's taking so long to fill up. But if you keep doing those small, consistent actions, regardless, they're adding up to something incredibly significant, and you're building healthy habits and resiliency along the way. And that's how I see Stay Fit Mom in a lot of ways. We just keep putting one droplet into the 40-ounce Stanley mug. That's how I see my health. Every little tiny piece of effort is going to help more than you think.
Mm-hmm.
That's it for episode 1. Thank you for joining us. Any final words, Krista?
No, I think we talked about just about everything, and I hope there's many more episodes to come.
We'll catch you next time.
We appreciate you tuning in to the Stay Fit Mom podcast. If you enjoyed today's episode, don't forget to subscribe and leave a review. Connect with us on social media and head to stayfitmom.com for more resources and tips. You've got this. See you next time.